It's the Jimmy Z Show!
Jimmy Z.
Hi, everybody. Jimmy Z and the Jimmy Z Show. And what I have here is a letter written by a couple from North Carolina. This is an open letter to media professionals working in the United States of America, dated February 14th. And I want to read the whole thing to you because these people are upset over what's been happening in Egypt and the way it's been presented to us here in the United States. February 14th, 2011. Day after day, you have brought us news out of Egypt. Day after day, detail upon detail. You did not dwell on the mob violence, the beatings, the killings. You dwelt instead upon the Egyptian struggle for freedom and democracy under tyrannical rule. You presented the plight of the Egyptian protesters with compassion, with understanding, with sympathy, even as American news crews were harassed and 2 Fox News men nearly beaten to death. Very compassionate you were, en masse and in step in your coverage of the violent Egyptian protesters. How about showing the same kind of compassion when reporting on dissident voices here in the United States? How about honest reporting about a grassroots movement of taxpayers gathering by the millions to protest tyranny right here in our own country? How about showing some respect for the cause of ordinary, tax-paying U.S. citizens who have taken to the streets from Sacramento to Washington, D.C., to protest a growing government dictatorship right here in our own country? Protesters here have not thrown rocks, just words. Protesters here have waved signs, not sticks. Protesters here have not killed over 300 people. No one has tried to beat anyone to death, not even to fend off attacks from any harassing news crews in the streets here. This is America. Our protesters are civil. Here in the United States, our protesters are beaten up by the press. We are called angry mobs, and our numbers are not even accurately reported when we gather in our nation's capital to protest high taxes, bailouts, ballooning national debt, job-creating businesses being stymied by high taxes and burdensome regulations, and so much big spending by a big government machine that our children and grandchildren are already in enormous debt. Our big government is so out of touch with the people, they forget that we are the ones who write the checks. We are the people who built this nation. We have fought and spilt blood on foreign soil for this country. We have sent our children to fight and die for our country. We have given up years with our family, our friends, and our hometown to serve with this nation's military. We are the ones who have worked all our lives, paid our taxes, and kept our families together, kept them in school, fed them at a bountiful table, and nurtured them at church every Sunday. We are the ones who bother to vote, trying our best to put good people in office who will put our country ahead of party, ahead of power and greed, and do the right thing for our nation. And when we are fooled by our politicians, ignored, overtaxed, bullied, and threatened by those that we have legally and honestly elected, we must take to the streets. And here in the streets of America, the press is used to further bully us and beat us to the ground. Look at the names the newscasters call law-abiding taxpayers who protest here. They call us an angry mob, and other names, horrible, awful names. They call us racists and bigots when we are the ones who voted for our first black American president because we had high hopes for the truth and transparency he promised in government. And what did we get? A smothering, socialistic, expensive regulatory nightmare called Obamacare. And where were you when he was running for office? Did you vet him? Did you investigate him thoroughly like you do every other politician? Did you find out where he was born? Did you even find out what his real name is? Did you tell us he was raised as a Muslim? Did you bother to explain how he spent 20 years in the church of a bigoted lunatic who spouted nothing but hatred for America Sunday after Sunday and came away untouched by his own mentor? Americans forgave him because you did. You did not do your job as we, the taxpayer, have trusted you to do and depended on you for years. You should have investigated, dug deep, and brought out the truth for us. Now, of course, we can't believe a word you say. We cannot trust you to report the truth about anything. You have been bought and paid for, and you should be ashamed. Just look at the job you do against dissident voices in our own country. Look at the hate campaign still being waged against a young governor and her family from Alaska when all she did was answer a call to step forward and try to serve her country. Any other young female governor would have been made into an instant heroine by the press. Look at the hateful, rude, and mean way you have always treated George W. Bush, a sitting president. Look at the protest you are still waging against the entire state of Arizona, who is simply trying to continue a costly battle for the safety of its own citizens and this nation at our southern border. Yet you continually sympathize with and stand up for those who break the law to get into this country. Many others have managed to enter our country as they should, legally and openly, over many, many years. The hard-working taxpayers of America have taken to the streets to protest big government, big spending, big taxes, big politicians who ignore us, and big egos who do not love our nation for the great free nation that it has always been. Yes, we are protesters, but we have killed no one, beat up no one. We've thrown no rocks, no Molotov cocktails. We take to the streets because we have to. We have to be heard. We speak up because our representatives are out of touch, out of step, and out of control. We are the people. We are the United States of America. We are free to protest because this is a free republic. We are doing our jobs, raising our families, working hard, and paying our taxes. We are not a democracy ruled by a mob. How about a little compassion for our cause? How about even trying to understand our cause? How about doing your job? How about being honest, hard-working reporters? We are the Tea Party protesters of the United States of America. How about showing a little bit of compassion for our just cause? How about trying to understand who we are, rather than simply labeling us teabaggers and calling us names? How about showing us a little respect? And that's signed Daryl and Frida Berry. Again, they wrote this open letter from North Carolina. If you have any comments, feel free. I'm Jimmy Z, and you're listening to The Jimmy Z Show.
The Jimmy Z Show.
It's perfect! I won't have to change this at all!
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.